The term New Public Management (NPM) refers to a transformation program primarily directed at the public organizations. It was initiated in many developed nations and throughout the 1980s and 1990s with assistance from global organizations such as the OECD, WTO, Institute of Economic Affairs, and a large number of management consultancies. NPM is influenced by a broad management idealism as well as modern cultural governmental economic models, and its main features include business strategies, regulations of power, corporatism, and emphasis on outcome policies and structures, and also the use of quantifiable performance measures. Originally intended to propose a new perceptions on public sector's organization development, these term implications in discussions and debates had already grown in number and sophistications after a century of its use. NPM is essentially a management control understanding because it brings up how all effectiveness in this role competes in basic situation and thus must be shifting towards in predictable ways, no matter the type of structures or tasks. It can be seen that NPM is portrayed as a prescription's conceptions that is distinct from traditional public administrations in many aspects, such as offering service that citizens benefits into, enhance the independence on top administrators and rewarding organizations and also individuals in enhancing the efficiency of public sector's manufacturing. Leadership has a large influence on the strategic management process. It is particularly useful in determining the organization's missions and visions. Furthermore, it makes it easier for the organizations to implement efficient strategies to accomplish that view. In addition, leadership style can serve as the foundations for successfully implementing the strategic management process. Leaders who follow strategies can accelerate the development of appropriate strategic actions and define how to improve tools. These actions serve as stepping stones to improve the results and strategic competitiveness. Leaders in various organizations are fully aware of the need of strategically plan for the future of their organizations and participate in the effective implementations of these strategies. Moreover, a strategic leadership have many aspects including controlling through others and assisting organization in adapting to an evolving world that appears to be taking place as rapidly as ever in today's global company. It necessitates the ability to recognize and include both the external and the internal environments of organizations and also in charge of overseeing and organizing important information processes. Leadership has a significant role to play in the formations and carrying out the strategies in NPM. It is termed as a strategic linkage which connect the strategic management process with the aim and visions of the organizations. It begins the strategic thought by offering visions. After that, it works as a foundation to cushion culture where everybody realizes that are the ways to do it and what are prevalent values regarding the firm. Therefore, leaders in strategic management take on a variety of roles. It creates the context of transformations. Second, it forms the management team by identifying relevant stakeholders from organizations by breaking down the existing hierarchy. Finally, it establishes the plan and visions with the aid of the right methods that clarifies the strategic plan for overall organization's understanding. In practice, NPM entails giving managers more decision-making authority, increasing the independence of public sector organizations, and also implementing outcome measures system. Leaders in NPM frequently concentrate on providing services in a more effective, efficient, and low-cost manner while adhering to laws and regulations. This approach aims to enhance the overall effectiveness of public sector organizations while also better meeting public needs.
One of the main problems faced by leaders in strategic management is the cultural issues. What is meant by the cultural issues here is that some leaders face problems in accepting and getting used to the new culture that exists in parallel with the progress and modernity of the organization over time. This will create a negative culture because leaders will begin to feel disturbed by all this and the risk of manipulation and dissatisfaction will arise. The effect of all this is the impairment of the strategic management system where the leader will not be able to make a decision. Next, self-motivation is also one of the problems faced by the leader in strategic management. As already known, a leader is the main source of motivation, driving force for the workers under his leadership. The ability to motivate oneself is the greatest priority for leaders since they should first motivate themselves before inspiring their teams. Self-motivated leaders aid in the realization of the company vision. The lack of self-motivation in the leader will cause the organization to lag behind and more strategic management cannot be implemented. In addition, among other challenges faced by leaders from strategic management is managing all stakeholders, which is the challenges of maintaining relationship, politics, and self-image in the work environment. In business terms, the definitions given for stakeholders are individuals or groups that can or are affected by the action, decisions, policies, practices, or goals of the organization. This support party will help the company in completing a related project. That is why the relationship needs to be taken care of and managed well. Another challenge that leaders have to face in strategic management is that they have to manage or deal with rigid people. It is normal if there are rigid people in an organization because each employee has a different background that leads to different opinions. This may not be in sync with others, and this will create a gap between fellow employees. That is why it becomes difficult for leaders to integrate them and create unity in the organization in order to implement the strategic management smoothly.
Firstly, the way to address cultural issues or problems of leadership in strategic management in Malaysia is to understand the cultural context. To effectively manage the organization, leaders must have a true awareness of the cultural framework in which they function. This entails being aware of the culture's values, customs and beliefs, as well as any potential effects they may have on company operations such as decision making and communication. Understanding the cultural background can assist executives in creating a more successful strategic management plan and in identifying and solving any cultural difficulties. Other than that, one of the ways to address self-motivated issues is to set clear and challenging goals. By establishing attainable yet difficult goals for themselves and their teams, leaders can support the development of self-motivation. This can provide focus, a sense of accomplishment and growth, as well as a sense of direction and purpose. In addition to fostering a sense of accountability and ownership, setting goals make people feel accountable for accomplishing them. Next, the way to address how to manage all stakeholders is to identifying and analyze stakeholders. In order to create effective strategies for handling stakeholder concerns, leaders should identify and assess all stakeholders as well as their individual interests and expectations. This includes being aware of each stakeholder's level of influence and authority as well as the potential consequences of their decisions for the business. Leaders may prioritize stakeholders' involvement and make sure that their needs and expectations are satisfied by identifying and assessing stakeholders. Last but not least, the way to address how to manage or deal with rigid people is to communicate clearly. Leaders should have open and honest communication with rigid people, giving them precise information and resolving any issues or queries they may have. Building trust and understanding via open and honest communication can also assist to lessen resistance to change. Furthermore, leaders should promote flexibility in decision making and open-mindedness, and they should provide people chances to develop. This can entail educating people, guiding them, and exposing them to fresh viewpoints. Encouragement of an open mind can help people become less rigid and more flexible and adaptable.
Let's move forward to the effect of leaderships in the public management in Malaysia, where the leaderships in public management in Malaysia can improve the network governance leaderships by actively encouraging the workers into the networking and engage with the diverse stakeholders in their organizations in the wider community. This leadership approach has grown in importance due to departmental collaborations and the partnership with the public sector and non-profit organizations to solve wicked problems with the substantive, strategic, and institutional complexities that defy artificial jurisdictional and organizations' boundaries. These leaders increase workers' networks and stakeholder awareness by helping employees to put faith to the department, agency, and communities by itself. Thus, workers also understand if the public sector have information, service, and access, leaderships make networking easier. Share is the vital trade resources. Know what an employee has and share within them and with the right people up and down and across the organizations. For example, the safeguarding water resources and the air quality benefits the larger public entities also. This helps fuel their pro-social and altruistic. And the second effect is Malaysian public sector leaderships can lead to improving the public sector performance. Employee performance helps them to understand the company's objective, this provide the directions and help people to find their roles and that match with their skills and their experience. Leadership also can motivate people by explaining the goals. Leadership is improving the public service performance. Well, leadership inspires and motivates the public sector by improving their performance, morale, and culture. A good leadership can set a high standard for public service performance by ensuring the employees have enough resources to complete tasks and their projects, by recognize and reward those who perform well. It also can boost their performance and also the engagement. The leaders can also make sure their team knows the organization's missions and values and create a place where employees feel respected, valued, and supported, which can make the workers more engaged and motivated and to allow the public servants to work together and try something new things, which it can improve the performance over time. In public sector, key performance indicator KPIs measure how well the public servants meet their goals over the time. KPIs also give team goals, checkpoints, and insight to make the better decisions. A good leadership also can improve the citizen service and the resources to meet their needs and their expectations.
The other implication of leadership in strategic management is by promote public official accountability. This is because public sector will improve and will be more productive and healthier as a result. This is because public officials must be accountable. If entrusted responsibility are carried out in tandem with principle, government agency, initiative, activity, and project will use their education properly and in accordance with current plan and budgets and so on to get their best return for every ringgit spent. Accountability is essential in public administration with manage public money and achieve government goals. Financial management organize and allocate money, resources, and people to meet an organization's goal. If civil authorities are not held accountable, irregularities, corruption, misbehavior, and abuse of authority are more likely, and the public would lose faith in government financial management and public services. Strategic leadership will motivate government employees to take charge. Leadership can promote government employee accountability. Finally, leadership in Malaysian public management develop ways to achieve the vision. Creating a plan requires a coherent and defined roadmap. Leadership must link strategy development to vision. It must promote learning by defining organizational values and will then guide the organization's behavior. Thus, the vision can be realized quickly and easily. The values help leaders create and implement plan. This ensures precious and full vision and goal realization. Leadership is most important in integrating people into strategic management. Strategic leaders plan and execute organizational goals. Strategic executive may help the company succeed. Organizational leaders do several tasks because the circumstances and leadership are dynamic. Leaders create long-term and short-term goals. After establishing the vision, their focus shifts to the creation of plans or the formulation of the strategy. And they can attempt to include everyone in order to create a team to carry out the plan. Both the loyalty of their followers and themselves should be guaranteed by leaders. They then give their employees tools and inspiration to carry out the plans. They then review the procedures to find opportunities for improvement. Effective leadership use strategic development to achieve the goal.
To conclude, leadership in strategic management in NPM is not an uncommon situation and has been implemented in many countries including Malaysia. Many issues arise from leadership in strategic management as previously mentioned, such as cultural, self-motivation, and managing rigid people, all of which have negative political and economic consequences for the country. Therefore, it is critical that these issues be addressed and solutions found so that they do not develop into a major concern that impacts not only the affected parties but also the nation and its people. It is critical to remember that new public management is a continuous issue and its implementation varies greatly in practice across various countries and contexts with varying results on public sector organization.